Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm going to bring you all yet again another Arrow episode review right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And as always, here to bring you the latest in this week's Arrow episode review. And this is my review of Season 2, Episode 16, entitled Suicide Squad. Now, general thoughts on this week's episode. Damn good episode. Highly enjoyable. Really liked it. Really dug, finally getting to see another adaptation of the Suicide Squad, another appearance. I definitely do like this series version over Smallville's rendition. I think that the context, the conflict, and the introduction and portrayal of the team in this series far surpasses that of the Smallville version. So yeah, I really dug it. I dug all the throwbacks and all the references to the comics, especially the little well, you can't really call it a cameo, but I mean, it's a slight cameo of Harley Quinn. I fucking cracked up, dying laughing when you just hear that voice come on. She's like, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm like, wait a minute, is that Harley? And I had to rewind the episode and be like, holy shit. So yeah, I dug that. But the thing I liked most about the episode, though, and this is going to be the main focus of my review this week. The thing I like most is that this episode focused on the supporting characters. With Diggle, with Lila, with Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, the whole team. Because up to this point, yeah, sure, Deadshot's had his episodes. Waller's had her episodes. Diggle's had his episodes, but within the context of the overall series and within the context of the main plot, they are still supporting characters. So the idea that the supporting characters, they get a story that pushes them to the forefront, where we spend time with them, where we get inside their heads, where we get to see their characters develop, and then Oliver, Sarah, our main characters, they're pushed to the background, and the main story kind of takes a breather for an episode. What they do, what that does when you spend time expanding on your supporting cast and expanding on other conflicts outside of your main plot, it contributes to the world building. It makes it vaster. It makes us as the audience believe that yes, there are other characters like them out there. There are other conflicts like this out there. And it helps the ensemble. It brings it all together. This is solid world building taking place in this episode, and I really appreciate that. Hell, even the flashbacks, we got to see Diggle and Lila when they were overseas, when they were in the forces. So all of that I really dug. I really dug that. So let's see. What do I want to talk about first? Well, let me just talk about the Oliver stuff first. Let me get that out of the way. Since like as I previously mentioned, that was kind of in the background for this episode. I do like how shaken Oliver has gotten. How much in his head Slade has gotten, and how Oliver's fear and paranoia has sort of, peaked at this episode. And you know what's funny? And I wonder if any of you other, comic book, especially DC aficionados, picked up on this. Did you guys not get the same sense that any of you all who have seen Teen Titans, you'll remember the episode. It was an epic episode where, just for clarification purposes, For educational purposes, anyone who has not seen Teen Titans, Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, is the main villain in the Teen Titans animated series. And there's an episode where they think Slade is dead. Like later in the series, they get to the point, there's a big showdown with Slade. They think he's dead. But Robin, who's the leader of the Teen Titans, is haunted by images of Slade. You know, he's appearing in his dreams and stuff like that. So Robin gets really paranoid. He starts, you know, freaking out. He gets aggressive towards his teammates. He gets obsessed with the mission he's on and all this type of stuff because he's trying, you know, he's like, I gotta find Slade. I gotta find him. I gotta find him. He's coming for me. He's coming for me. Did you guys not get the same vibe from Oliver's little arc in this episode? I got the second Oliver started, you know, when he was getting the nightmares, it was like, I gotta find him, I gotta find him, I gotta find him. I immediately thought back to that Teen Titans episode. And you know what? And it all works because Slade Wilson, or Deathstroke if you will, he is that type of character. He's a very formidable foe physically. But outside of his main presence, he does have that looming threat, that lurking doom over his adversaries, and I like that they keep that consistent with his character. Remember, I just referenced back to an animated TV show from the early 2000s, and of course that's always been Deathstroke's reputation in the comics. So to keep that much consistent with his character in these different adaptations, I think works really well, and it all contributes back to his mythos. So that I really dug. Brief comment though on the Oliver Sarah sort of conflict, damn mosquitoes, in this episode. I knew that wasn't gonna work. And I knew that had to have been resolved or at least come to a head in this episode because let's face it, if Slade really wanted to use Sarah to hurt Oliver, he's going to do so. Just like Sarah said, he's going to do so if they're together or not. So, I mean, that was a futile attempt, Oliver. Come on now. Besides, it would benefit Oliver more if Slade's coming for both of them. Then don't they stand a better chance together than separate? Come on, man, this isn't Scooby-Doo now. You don't separate the team. You consolidate your forces, you keep them close and tight so that when Slade does make his move, at least you'll have the backup. So, anyway. And I liked how now we are referring to Slade as Deathstroke, what with the last scene where even we find out that even Waller's been on Slade's radar. Well, not on Slade's radar, but Slade's been on her radar for a while, and I like that because at least now I know that Waller isn't going to be, you know, just a cameo here or a cameo there. They actually are working her into the main conflict, and just the fact that she's been looking into Deathstroke. That she's been trying to make a connection, trying to figure out what's going on with him. Now this leads us to believe that she's going to have a more stable place in the main story. So I like that. All that worked out real well. Now I'm going to spend the rest of this review just pretty much talking about the Suicide Squad, what all they did with them, why I dug it so fucking much, man. Cause you guys will remember from my season 1 reviews where they had those few episodes where Diggle was, you know, the main focus of the episode, how I dug that. You know, I like Diggle as a character. I like the actor portraying him. And once again, I like when they take the time to develop the supporting characters. But this fucking episode, I mean, you got Diggle teaming up with Deadshot. All right? You got him teaming up with Deadshot. And we know all their history, we know their rivalry. You know, they set the groundwork for that in season 1 and did a great job doing it now that I see where it's led to. But I mean, how Diggle's been conflicted with working with Deadshot, how he's been kind of on the fence about what, you know, working with Lila, what the stance of their relationship is and how they're work. Because remember, Diggle and Lila, in the same vein of Oliver and Sarah, you know, their work does conflict. You know, it does play a role in their relationship. It's just that with Diggle and Lila, they're kind of on opposing teams, not necessarily opposing forces, but they're not constantly working together. Not like how Oliver and Sarah are now. But you know, Oliver and Sarah weren't working together at a time either. So I like seeing that sort of compare and contrast between those two relationships. So that was interesting enough. And then of course we go back to you know, Diggle and his whole kind of conflict with the commanding officer. You got to remember, he's working for Waller in this episode. So when she decides to go ahead and do that drone strike at the end of the episode, yeah, there's a conflict there. So yeah, I thought all of that was well done. I tell you what, for me though, what was the coup de grace for this episode, the icing on the cake, that cherry on my cupcake, man, what the sprinkles on my ice cream, what I just fucking dug, was how they made Deadshot more of a sympathetic character. Now, hang on a minute, guys. Don't rip off my head just yet. I'm not saying that I want Deadshot to be a sympathetic villain. I don't. You know, I don't think that you can just put any character into the sympathetic villain conundrum and make it work out. No, it has to be part of the character. It has to be within that character, you know, thing. You know, you can't just throw any character and be like, okay, we're going to make them sympathetic. Most of the time, it doesn't work out. It falls apart at the seams. Deadshot, though, it's less about making him a sympathetic villain and more of making him the redeemable villain. But the way they did it, you know, you know, we're not talking redeemable like Doc Ock and Spider-Man 2. We're not talking about that type of redeemable. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is a character who does what he does. He acknowledges what he does. Never does he apologize for it though, because he feels like he's doing it for legitimate reasons. You know, when we found out that apparently he has a trust set up for his daughter, Deadshot doesn't apologize for what he does. And he's not going to change what he does either, because for him there is a bright side. There's, you know, he's doing that because the money he makes provides for his daughter, and he even acknowledges he's not a father figure. The best thing he can do for her is not be there. But if he can help out financially, that's what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that, and I dig that. But then when he decides to go ahead and take the hit when he knows the drone strike is coming because he thinks it's honorable, then now I got to sit and see. Now I got to sit back and I got to really think about this character. Did we know him from Jump Street? You know what I'm saying? It's shining a new light. It's painting him in a new picture and a new portrayal that I dig. And but like I said, at no point are they really trying to make him into a hero. You know what I'm saying? I could very easily see him becoming an anti-hero, but I can very easily see him becoming an anti-villain too. So actually, in hindsight, now that I think about it, I don't really think he's ever been a villain. If you really stop and think about Deadshot within the course of the series, more of an anti-villain than a villain. But I like that they keep him in that territory. You know what I mean? See, now he's more gray than a black and white character. Now he's more of a gray character, and I like that. I dig that. And I can only hope, I would only plead with the writers that if they're going to do more with Deadshot, keep it within this context. Keep it to where, okay, if he does do something villainous, keep it because, no, there's a legitimate reason for it. Or no, he has a solid justification for it. Or no, because of something that holds up with what we now get to be his character. You know what I'm saying? Keep him consistent in the same manner that they've done with Slade. Keep him in that light, and we'll be all right. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on this week's episode. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week, and in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this week's episode, and let me know what you guys think. That's my 15-minute marker. Let me know what you guys think in regards to some of these characters. Let me know what you guys think on my thoughts on some of these characters, and also don't be shy to share some of your thoughts, speculations, expectations, predictions for where the season's going. You know, what we're going to see next week. Oh, dude, next week. Oh, we got the Huntress coming back. And I get to see the Huntress and Black Canary go at it again. I've been waiting to see this in live action since I saw it in Justice League. I've been waiting to see this fight in live action, man. And it's going down. It's going down. It's going down. Can't wait till next week. Yeah. Alright, alright, yeah, I know, I'm like a big kid right now, because this is the shit, man, this is the shit. If anybody watching this review, you guys haven't gotten into Arrow yet, you guys are missing out. I can't stress that enough. So, with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. Keep an eye out for my Vikings episode review tomorrow, and until next time, peace.